Welcome, my DevNation friends. How are you doing today? So this is show number 3, and as usual, I'm hoping, crossing my finger that the network will be okay. Today, we are back also on OpenShift channel. So if there are people from from Twitch, hi people from Twitch, and hi people from Facebook Live as well. I'm really happy. Let me double check on my side that everything goes well. Well, it looks like it's working. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me well, see me well. I'm really proud. I don't know if you can see that with my crappy network, but I just got a new camera, a really expensive one. To be honest, it's Red Hat paying for me for that, and I installed it yesterday, and it looks like really nice. And I got also a new water bottle. Wow, I'm happy with that. So today, really relax show. We will have the interview, and then we'll have the game. For once, it won't be a game that I have made, but a game made by other Red Hatters. And yeah, we will see how it goes. Okay. Anyway, looks like the network is pretty okay-ish. So you know what? Last year before every show, I was playing an instrument. I could do it again. I was thinking, can I do something else at each show? Actually, there's something that I would like to show you. I'm practicing a martial art called Kobudo. Come from Japan, from the small island Okinawa, where karate was also invented. But I do the Kobudo. It appeared more or less at the same time. And the main difference with karate is that you use weapons, really special weapons. And I will try to show you a different weapon every week. So today we have the tonkwa. Okay, tonkwa. Maybe you know it. Some policemen have that, but they only have one. I have two. And well, I don't do fights. I only do trainings, like stuff like that. Okay. And katas. I train my katas. Like I try to do code katas, every morning. Well, to be honest, I don't do that, but I shoot at code katas. Well, it's the same. So I like to explain that martial art and coding are a bit the same. You have to train over and over the same patterns. Okay. So these are the tonkwas. Next week, another weapon. But now it's time for the interview. Let me put that back here before it falls down. Come on, yeah. Or let me put it on the ground. Okay, we're safe here. Cool. Let's go for the interview. And I'm so happy today to have on the show my friend Michael. Let me bring him right now on the show. Let me try that in once. Yeah, there you are. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Good evening, Good afternoon, good morning, or whatever.
Well, I say always good morning because it's always morning somewhere in the world, so you're safe on the safe side when you do that. I'm so happy to see you at least virtually. I think the last time we met was that at Javelin 2 years ago.
No, I think it was in DevOps in Antwerp.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You're right. So it's 1.5 years ago. Yeah, at DevOps, exactly. That was by the way, the latest big conference that I did. I went to DevOps Morocco after that, but then the words change a bit. Slightly. Okay. So, like always, I ask my guests to introduce themselves. So, Michael, who are you? So tell us everything.
My name is Michael. I work for Neo4j. Neo4j is the company behind the graph database with the same name. Neo4j is a graph database that stores your data in a very connected form. And at Neo4j, I work in the drivers team, and specifically, I'm working on our object mapper and our Spring Data module. I have a long history of contributing and working with Spring Boot and Spring Framework. And since 3 years now, I actually work for Neo4j in that role. What I like about it is the fact that, it has been remote, and at the same time, we are very close in our team. That's a great connection there. and I get to work with many stacks, not only work with the Spring Stack, with a couple of other things as well, with Quarkus, and maybe we come to that later on, with the Graal VM and stuff like that. Yeah, that's basically me.
Okay,
Apart from that, I enjoy cycling. I run a Java user group at my place back in the days when that were still something. That backdrop is from, it was in hindsight funny, it was from the VJuke 24 that Simon Maple and friends organized in 2017.
Oh, so, oh, yeah, I remember, that was crazy.
It was a crazy day, actually. And that's me.
Okay, and you are fans of Guns N' Roses as well?
Among others, yes. And we did this thing on Twitter, and just to brighten up the mood, Sebi started to do the snake dance that Axel usually does on stage, like that. And I brought up the wig and tried to do something similar.
I was so happy when I saw your tweet, and to be honest, a bit surprised, but because you're a bit shy, or at least I was not expecting that from you, but I was so happy, and I found
fun fact, I wasn't drunk, and yes, I'm usually more the shy guy, at least on video. I like to write stuff and do some things like that. I mean, I wrote a book on Spring, so I'm more a writing person than doing big videos. But in these days, everything is so constrained, so serious, and I mean, having some silly fun is maybe just a good thing to do.
It's a good thing to do. By the way, I also asked this question to all my guests. You were also a bit traveling, but maybe less than me. But how did you handle the situations in last year? Did it change a lot for you for work, or?
Yeah, for work, actually, it did change a lot. I mean, I'm a remote person at Neo4j, but usually I met with my friend Garrett at the office at least once a quarter to hack together, to brainstorm together. I live in Germany, and then our headquarters are in Malmö, Sweden, and they are rather good to reach, and I miss that actually. Sitting at home and working at home, it felt always right. It was the right choice for me. But sitting only at home and not leaving the home and having like 3 other people in the house changed working remote quite a bit, actually. And,
I believe you. Yeah.
I mean, that changed a lot. Back and at the conference we mentioned earlier, the DevOps conference, I traveled there by bicycle. So maybe that was just the right thing to start.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a bit about your company, Neo4j. So, for me it's hard because J, in English, in French, J you say G, and G you say J. So I always mix it up. So don't worry. You mentioned graph database. Do you have a power statement that explains pretty well what a graph database or approach is? Because maybe for some people it's not very clear.
I try to make a short statement. So in a relational database, you don't store relations. This is a lie. The relations in a relational database are the tuples of attributes in a table. In a graph database, you actually store relations. You store nodes or edges or vertices and edges to other nodes. These are physically stored relations. And they can be traversed very easily with at least in our graph database, with Cypher. Cypher is apparently supported in others as well. But this is a declarative query language that allows for fast traversal of relationships. And what it gives you is, or what it takes away from you is the need for joins, for building up that relations on runtime. They are physically stored, and you can traverse them as fast as it gets.
Okay, I like it.
And regarding that 4J, Neo4j is written in Java, runs on the JVM. Parts of it are written in Scala, but it's for a lot of ecosystems. It's not only for J as in for Java. We have drivers and connectors for like Python, Go, JavaScript, and all of that. So you're not left in the cold if you're not on Java.
Yeah, it's a bit like Kafka. Kafka is written in Java, but you can use it then. Okay, and do you have any specific use case, the one that you always tell people where you should go for this type of
one
data?
prominent use case, of course, are recommendation systems that can be for shopping. Please recommend stuff to me that other people I'm friends with have bought as well. Or it can be recommendation systems for fraud. Recommend me the person who is likely to commit that fraud. So as a recommendation system for people that maybe should face jail time or stuff like that. For inventory systems and stuff like that, it's need configuration management systems. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just checking the chat here. Oh, that's a question for me. How to get ahead? Well, easy. You have to join Red Hat. And what slows it down? Bottleneck? So I'm not sure if you're speaking about the stream right now. It could be that my quality is poor, or if you are talking about databases. So I don't know what to answer there.
So if it's about databases, I can answer that.
Let's answer that.
Very dense nodes can slow stuff down. If a node has many connections, many relations to other nodes, and maybe they are also of the same type, then the algorithm needs to decide which of those relationships needs to be traversed. So super dense nodes can be an issue, for example.
Okay. Yeah, cool. And so you said you are in the driver team, so you are writing the Java driver for, well, the client. Could we call that the client? Well, it's a driver.
So what Garrett, Meyer and I are writing is basically a client, an object mapper. So there's Neo4j object mapper, object graph mapper that works without Spring, and we have that Spring data module, which is fully reactive. That is for what I would name as a client. It sits on top of a driver or connector, and that driver is pretty much the same level like JDBC or RTDBC. And I'm not writing that myself. We have a great team who is doing that, who is much more familiar with all that network and low-level stuff than I am. But I've contributed a couple of small things to the driver. For example, to make the usage of Netty possible in a native way on the Graal VM.
I was just about to ask about if you were using Netty and stuff like that. So yeah, go ahead.
Of course we are. Who isn't in that area? I think.
Yeah. And so you are a Java champion as well. You love Java. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Java because Java is evolving a lot. The GDK, we have a lot of new releases. Are you catching up with? Are you catching up with all the new releases, new features that are in 15, 16, like how do we call that? Sealed classes.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? Java 16 twice as much Java as 8 will be released, I think, next month. And at the moment, the work we are doing for the Spring Data integration is the Java 8. Why is that? Because Spring Framework is the baseline Java 8, and that will change for the next major Spring Framework version for Spring Framework 6. And then we can use all that shiny things that are out there. I'm probably not the right person to speak about the Spring Framework plans, but Spring will support, from what I've heard, the latest LTS release at that point. Okay. So depends whether it's 17 out there or not, what we are going to do. So at the moment, I'm a bit torn. For the work I'm doing, I need to use JDK 8 to be compatible with where we want to have our stuff available. Our database people are more lucky. Neo4j 4 requires JDK 11, so they can do all the things that are in JDK 11. Luckily, not multi-line strings. I would love to have multi-line strings for queries and stuff like that. I mean, that's just fantastic stuff to have. And yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So you mentioned Spring. I know you love Spring. Actually, you remember the first time we met was at Spring IO in Barcelona.
Oh, really? Was that? That must be 2016 then.
I think so, and I think that was the first time we met. I did a talk about Keycloak and Spring Boot, and and you wrote some books about Spring Boot as well.
Yeah, that was me. So yeah, I love Spring. I'm like with many great tools, you can do great stuff with it. You can shoot yourself in both feet and a couple of hands if you're doing the wrong thing or if you do everything at once. But it doesn't change the fact that it's a great and versatile tool and integrated into many things, right? And also integrates many things. Yeah. But I'm well aware that there's a huge world outside of Spring. Java EE, for example. I mean, Spring uses tons of Java EE APIs as well. And as far as that concerned, Spring is also affected by the change of package namespaces and whatnot in several enterprise APIs. So
exactly.
Yeah, and maybe you're alluring to Quarkus. It was one of our next occasions where we met. That was in JavaLand 2019. And I was just prepping up my talk about Neo4j and how to use it from the JVM. And you guys at Red Hat were suddenly all over the place with your Quarkus things, subsonic, subatomar, super fast, whatever. Yeah, and I wanted to be part of that moment, have it in my presentation, and I was sitting in a tent at a conference and was hacking along, and you came the way and was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to make this work in Quarkus." And then a couple of things happened, which I actually love about that Java ecosystem. Days later, I meet another person from Red Hat, Sanne Genovera, in London after one of our conferences, and it was a marvelous day, that Spring Day. And Spring Day, it was actually a Spring Day. And Sanne told me so much about how you implemented support for being able to compile Quarkus natively on the Graal VM. I learned a ton of things from him, could make our driver better with that knowledge, could contribute a simple integration of our driver with Quarkus framework. I even got a nice shirt from you guys. Awesome. Made Quarkus 1.0.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think that was truly open source spirit to share knowledge with others, regardless what company or ecosystem people have been working for. And I think everyone benefited. And what I realized at that day, what was also more clarity of what I want to achieve with integration of our product. I want people to be able to connect to our product from their preferred environment as frictionless as it gets. Like you would do in Spring Boot, define a couple of properties. You can do this in Quarkus. You can do this in Helidon and tons of other frameworks. And I think that is valuable for people actually writing business application on it.
Yeah.
Not taking something, the whole bucket, throw it at them, but start at the correct layers of abstraction. There are people who only want to have a pure database connection. Doesn't matter if it's JDBC or our Neo4j protocol, they just want to speak with the database and use it the way they want. Some people go into the direction of Juke. Juke is a tool for SQL query generation mapping. Remind me about that when I finished, please. Other people go the full object mapping way, Hibernate and all of that, or another JPA implementation, or the object mapping stuff. But as long as you can put the pieces together like Lego bars, bricks, then you have something nice you can compose and maybe stuff it into Kubernetes, the area where you are working on, right? And that's what I want to have for our product.
I love it. And I see someone on the chat saying great story. Yeah, I like the way how you explain it. And want me to remind you now about Juke?
Yeah. So people love to rant about Hibernate, about object mapping and all of that. Some of those rants, I guess, are just because we live in stressful times, and all those mapping frameworks make it rather easy to just write down stuff, use it without thinking too much, and I can totally relate to it. It's a fast-paced world. People need to get stuff done, and yeah, there's little time to dig deeply into that stuff, and then suddenly it blows all over the face. And that's the same thing with what we are seeing with Neo4j OGM, our own graph mapper. It works. It's easy to use on a superficial level, but if you really want to take the best effort out of it, it gets hard. And that's where tools like Juke, a query generation tool, and others really shine. That lets you also compose your things in a better way, in details. And that's one of my pet projects I'm working on in the area is when we created the latest version of Spring Data Neo4j, we had two people inspiring us. One was Lukas Eder from Juke, and the other one was Mark Paluch from the Spring Data VMware team. Okay. They are using for their new Spring Data JDBC module a query generator as well, an internal one. And I really like that, having a small domain-specific language for generating our queries. And we built our own for Cypher. That's the query language of Neo4j. And we are using that in Spring Data Neo4j. And that escalated to some point, right? We have now an external module so that you have a type-safe way to express your queries inside Spring Data Neo4j. Right now, we are working at a static domain model for that, so that we look at annotated classes and generate something that reassembles those, so that you can write down your queries in a type-safe way from Java or Kotlin or whatever you want. And yeah, that's actually quite enjoyable area of work at the moment. Quite different than other things like cloud.
The word enjoyable. I think as long as we can keep our work enjoyable, even by simple things. What I always say, I do a lot of Quarkus, but every time that I start my Quarkus project and that I see it starting so fast, and I have this small satisfactory moment, you know. And,
sure.
I think we must be aware of that and take our energy from that. So cool. Let me say, you mentioned the word Kubernetes. You say maybe you can deploy it in Kubernetes. Do you use Kubernetes?
The first time you asked me that question I was like, luckily, no, I don't. So there was, and I've been thinking since we spoke about that just before. When you start in IT and in our domain, like these days, there's basically no way around Kubernetes. At least it seems so. And there's tons of stuff that are super intimidating to juniors. And what I say is, I'm luckily not working with Kubernetes. There is not always the need to use all the stuff that are out there, right? I don't think that these days a truly full stack developer just doesn't exist anymore. At the moment, I can happily live without. Being able to configure and to do whatever things are possible in Kubernetes. It might be different in the future. I don't know. We have people at Neo4j who are doing tons of work with Kubernetes, right? For example, we have a cloud service, which is called Aura. And by the way, if you go to console.neo4j.io, you can register for a free Aura account. It will always be free. So you can try out our stuff and maybe also use it in your project. That runs on Kubernetes. We have our own operators for that stuff.
But you have operators, yeah, okay.
That's a different team. I know you can do amazing stuff with Kubernetes, but I'm not using it.
Okay, so yeah, because we spoke a bit about it just before, and you say, yeah, luckily, but because honestly, 1.5 years ago, I would have answered the same thing. I was saying, oh, Kubernetes, that's hype, and we don't need that. And well, then I moved to a new team where I had to speak a lot about Kubernetes, so I had no choice but to dive into it.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a really good surprise. The learning curve is a bit high in the beginning, but to be honest, we are used to that. Once you pass that small learning curve, you discover the power. Really, the power of Kubernetes, and it's like when I tell you when I run my Quarkus app, when I deploy my pod and I see it running, I have the same satisfactory moment, and I can just scale up, and all the networking routing stuff is handled for me. It's magic. It's a bit like, to be honest, it's like when I discovered Spring Boot or even Spring. 15 years ago, when I first time I used Spring with this injection, and that was magic for me. And I can find back this stuff. So maybe you should.
But what about your Doom Kubernetes? I saw you shooting pods in Doom. You brought your pods up and just shut them down again. So,
oh yeah.
what did happen there? What did these pods do to you?
Wow, that is a great way to show how resilient a cluster can be, your parts can be, because you can. That is chaos.
Again, right?
Yeah. And I like to mix Kubernetes with games. I did it for Doom. I did it with Minecraft. I did it with Tetris, with Pac-Man, and there is also another one, is Space Invader. I didn't develop that. It's someone from Reddit, I think, also, where the pods appears as invaders, and you can shoot them, and so it's.
Awesome.
It's really...
But you said a very good thing. I think we as developers, also for junior developers entering the business, we should be open to learn stuff, and that's the most important thing. When you enter the business, you cannot know everything, but you should be willing to learn Kubernetes or databases. If people say stuff like SQL is old tech, or Cypher query language, or I never need this, you don't need it right at this moment. But you should be able to understand what it is, the concept behind it, and at that point in time when you need it, you should be willing to open up to it and to learn about it. I think that's important.
That's really important. Yeah. Be open, and give yourself the time to dive a bit into it. Maybe if you don't like it, well, try again next year, or and
you know, I like my wife, I like my kids, and enjoy a couple of things I do at the computer, but I don't need to love a framework or a technology. It needs to get the stuff done.
Yeah,
I do like and love other things then.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what I'm trying to say? It would be easier to say it in German.
No, but I understand it. And when you see some people on Twitter arguing, and it's really mean sometimes, about speaking about frameworks, and you say, come on, guy, you are talking about 1 and zeros.
Yes.
I don't understand how you can get so.
In the end, it's just some arbitrary tag, and tag A works for this and that person better than for another person, and that's just the way it is. Some tech is better at solving a specific business problem than another, but it's not something you should fight a war about.
Yeah. I'm looking the chat there. Oh, Aurélie is there. Oh, Chris is there. Hi, Chris. And Tuni, he say, yeah, a lot to learn. Where do you start? Teaching tool. Yeah, how? I don't know if Tuni, you speak about Kubernetes. Well, I can make. If you want to learn about Kubernetes, let me just share this link with you, because that's our own stuff, Cube tutorial. And you should check the channel and follow me on Twitter, because we deliver.
Can I write in the chat as well here?
Can you see the chat as well? Yeah, you should see it.
So I'm unsure if I can write here.
Oh yeah, Tony say everything. Yeah, how do you start? Well, I remember well, it was not a mistake, because I was full of energy. But when I was a junior, I wanted to try out everything. I remember I was going on the server side.com, and every new framework that I was seeing, I was trying it out. But we were lucky at the time. There was not. Oh yeah, that's private chat. Let me share this one as well on the public chat. So Tony, yeah, you have to. The best thing is to attend, well, this kind of talks, but also on well, conferences are not there, but conferences was a good way to go and discover a new technology. Not only going to talks that you know about. Yeah, it's. I don't know if you have an advice on how to start learning new stuff and where, because yeah, you have so many stuff.
Yeah, conferences are a thing. Also, going out to conferences and not. Fun fact, I mean, the last year we could watch so many talks online, but that's not the thing I miss most about conferences. I miss out hanging out at conferences, running into random people, or starting a conversation about lunch. And I think that's one of the most important aspects, that you actually can start a conversation about a couple of things. That's really missing for me. What helped me for learning new languages, for example, there is this advent of code stuff. Those are one-day puzzles that come up every year in December. There's a website, adventofcode.com. There's still online for the past years. Stuff like this is really fun. Small tasks that have nothing to do with getting containers up and running or connecting to databases. You can solve this with containers and databases, of course, but it's nice having a simple solvable task at hand for trying out things.
Yeah, that's a good one. I never tried, to be honestly, I never tried it. Often it's in December, and in December is when I try to
wind down.
To work a bit less and to focus a bit more. Well, this year was different, but yeah. Okay.
What I do, I mean, there are a couple of good books out there. There are books I like are about concepts, not specific about frameworks. Even though I've written a book about frameworks, I would probably not read it myself. Most of the frameworks have great documentation. Stuff I like is, for example, if you want to learn about databases, grab this book here by Martin Kleppmann.
Intensive. I was reading intensive. No, but intensive.
A colleague recommended that to me, and it's really great. It goes from the super low level, how transactions and all of that work, to logs, to read-write screws you can get, and it goes to cluster, to how things are being synchronized and transactions are propagated. Stuff like that is super interesting because you get to learn the concepts of what you're working with.
Yeah.
I find this is really important, not a specific language.
Yeah. That's a cool one. And one thing I did lately was installing an extension on Chrome, but you have it also on Firefox. It's daily.dev, I think, something like that.
Mhm.
And every time that you open a new tab, instead of having the Google page, you have a selection of IT articles, every day new ones. And well, it's a great way. You open a new tab, and before going there, you read a bit of stuff. It's a bit, yeah. And it's another way to. I'm still not really using it. I installed it, but yeah, because usually you open a tab because you have to do something. But I need to think about opening a tab just to read a bit that stuff. Okay. Hey, wow! It's time is running already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, is there anything else? Yeah. Maybe let me introduce a new question. Are you a happy developer? Let's make it simple like this.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's important. I
It's,
think most of us are, and
you know, it's such a luxury situation these days. We work in a thriving economy. I work with good people. Our company takes care of people. We are actively improving our engagement for diversity and cultural. I don't have to leave my home to work. It's how can I not be happy, right?
okay, exactly.
There are days where stuff grinds you down, when nothing works. Sure, my kids hear me yelling at the computer, and most of the days I don't want to spend even more time at the computer when they want to play Minecraft or stuff like that. But that's a different story. But I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I think that's a good conclusion, and I'm happy. We must be aware that we are in a luxury situation here.
Yeah.
Most of us, most of developers, and yeah. Okay. Hey, Michael, that's it.
Okay.
We will. Yeah, I will try to play some games with the attendees here. If there are some attendees left, let me see. Yeah, there are some people there. Great. It was such a pleasure to have you, and I cannot wait to meet again.
Yep.
Honestly, I have no idea. Every show I say, yeah, maybe late 2021, but even now it seems complicated. I don't know.
I have said too many positive things today. I could start about ranting about the vaccination process in my country,
Oh no,
but it would take us another hour, and then I'm only halfway through with the rant, so I'm not starting it. So I guess it will be 2022 when we see each other again.
Yeah. Okay, hey, thank you so much, and have a nice evening.
Yeah, Silvi, you too. It was a pleasure.
Okay, hey, bye-bye.
Bye.
So, we're back. That was great, a great interview. I love all the stuff that Michael says, really important stuff. The analogy with Lego bricks, his conclusion as well. His stuff about don't be, yeah, in the end, it's just technology. Well, it was really nice. We are here for a few minutes again. I have the whole hour, but we can finish earlier. But what I wanted to show you this time, it's a bit different than usually. Let me share my screen. Let me just share that with you. Let me share this. Wow. Red Hat Arcade. What is that? To be honest, that's something that I discovered myself not so long ago. And let me... Did I share that with you? No, I didn't share that with you. Let me share that with you there. There we go. And let me share my screen. I can do it. Share my screen. There, I share my screen. Okay. And you should know. See my screen? Not yet. Why is that? Oh, yeah, because I have to bring it up here. Michael, there we go. Now you see my screen and we see the Inception mode. Okay, now I'm going blind because I'm changing tabs, but you got here arcade.redhat.com. And these are open source games, okay, developed by people working at Red Hat and running on OpenShift. You can see it here. All games are running on OpenShift. Okay, and you have a lot of great games. This one, the Command Line Heroes, it's really funny. You have 60 seconds to type as much as commands that you know about Bash, JavaScript, Java, I think. It's a really funny one to do. Pod Escape, also really funny, but I would like to try one multiplayer. This one is fully multiplayer, but we also have this one, a Square Off. If some people can join in Square Off, let me type my name here, Sebi play, and if someone else join, we should create a game. Though if several other people join, it's just a one-to-one. I know there's some delay. Come on, don't be shy. Let me. Oh, there's someone. Okay, so, and you can. I got some. Okay, and you places these squares. You know, that's how it works. I like this concept of. Okay. And let us know in it. Oh, good one. Nivesh. Oh, Nivesh. So Nivesh. And let us know in the chat if other people are playing. Oh, two. That's getting. Okay, you are winning. And again, remember, this is open. You can contribute to this game. Oh, I was lucky. But I missed the end. Ooh, free. I don't know how many points there are. Yay. Okay. Oh, it's hard to play with the trackpad. Oh my god, that was not so good for me because. Ooh, he's playing aggressively. Oh, good one. Okay. Oh. And defeat. So you won, Nivesh. Congratulations. Let me see here. You won the game. There's a small delay here, I say, but you won. Are you on the chat? I saw you in the chat. Just say hello. Oh yeah, there you are. On the chat. Congratulations. Okay. So I don't know if other people play the game, but again, there's a lot of fun stuff to see there. And for each game you have play and contribute. If you click on contribute, you come on the GitHub repo, okay? And you can just, fork it, and then you can just contribute to it or just run it. You see here, it's pretty easy. I guess you just clone it, do an npm install, npm start, and there we go. Okay, I saw another game. If everyone can join Zorbio. Okay, Zorb, let me paste the link there. Okay, really nice music. Let me, Seb, and this is a game where you play a big sphere, and you can get energy by going through other spheres. Okay, I really explained that badly, but you will understand. And look how nice that is. So I don't know if other people joined. And this one is really hard to play with the trackpad. Can I? Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, I see other players there. And you can go also by bigger spheres. close to them and you will get some energy for them. But don't get too close, because otherwise they will absorb you. Let me see. Let me try to chase someone here. This one. Who is that? Oh, I was bring out. Okay, I see a lot of people there, so I'm wondering if. But again, that is really, really nice. I'm really curious. How is this game written? So let me see. Zorbio absorb the orbs. So you have to install Node.js, GCC+. You have to install PHP. Okay, that's probably for the front end. You get all the instructions here. Oh, and that's also an NPM game. But I guess the whole 3D stuff is using some OpenGL stuff. I have to play it. I would like to play with, well, play, when I say play with the code of games or of more advanced games. Okay, so I don't know if people are scoring. Let me see. Oh, I see Nivesh. It's me. So Nivesh is back, and then it's the IEI. Okay. I think no one else joined the game, but maybe you are still playing the other game. Okay, let me exit this game. Let me double check the chat. Okay, hey people. Remember arcade.reddit.com. And you see all the games can run on OpenShift, okay? And maybe you want to deploy it on OpenShift. And remember, I showed you that last week, but if you go to Reddit developer, let me go to Reddit developer. There we go. And that you, no, that's not the one I want to do. I want to show you the sandbox, just to remember that. Sandbox OpenShift. There we go. There we go. Okay, remember, you can get a cluster for 2 weeks, a complete cluster. And that could be a good combination. You fork one of these games, you get a sandbox, and you try to deploy it on this sandbox. Okay, so maybe for the next show, tell me on Twitter if you manage to deploy one of these games on the sandbox. That would be awesome. I would love to hear about it. Okay. Let me go back here. Let me remove my screen share. Stop screen sharing. Let's go back in back mode. Okay. I think the network was a bit better today. At the moment that I see that, I see it buffering here on the other side. So I hope you enjoyed this moment. Again, it's the show. We are relaxed. We chat. We play games. And yeah, it's really important that we spend some time just relaxing. Next week is Tech Talk again. To be honest, I have no idea what the topic will be. I can look that up for you. I will put the link as well. If you want everything that is happening at DevNation, you get this. Oh, no, wrong link. You've got this link here. There we go. Upcoming. So upcoming, there's a deep dive. This for me, Tech Talk. So next week is a continuous performance regression testing with JFR unit. Okay. Oh, with Gunnar Morning. So I really Gunnar always do really great talks, so I really recommend you next week to be on this channel. Okay, and that's it for me. I wish you a really, really, really nice day, and well, see you in 2 weeks for another edition of the show. Bye-bye.